The sound of the doorbell cut through my evening like an unwanted memory. I was in the middle of binge-watching an old action movie, enjoying the simplicity of explosions over complicated dialogue. I wasn't expecting anyone, certainly not her. Peeking through the peephole confirmed the nagging suspicion I didn't want to acknowledge. There she was, the woman who, for better or worse, had redefined betrayal in my life. The woman I had carefully ghosted years ago after her choices had left me with nothing. My instinct told me to ignore the doorbell. But let's be real. Someone who went to so much trouble to track you down wasn't going to take a subtle hint like, "Don't answer." With a sigh that felt heavier than it should have, I unlocked the chain and cracked the door just enough for our eyes to meet. Her face hadn't aged much, though there was something tired in her gaze. Maybe she finally understood what it felt like to carry regret. Or maybe not. I'd stopped trying to guess her thoughts long ago. "What do you want?" My tone was deliberately sharp, each word like a well-practiced jab. She had the nerve to smile, a flicker of the same charm that once drew me in like a moth to a flame. I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. Wasn't my leaving clear enough? I asked. No interest. Not now. Not ever. Her smile faltered, just a little. "I have no idea why you left, John. I came home, and you were gone. No note, no explanation, just gone." I let out a laugh, humorless and dry. "Really? You can't think of a reason? You heard me, Mary. You heard me that night when I told you exactly what would happen if you went through with it. She'd been caught cheating, but acted like it was a joke. I don't want you around her, and I don't want you at her parties. Especially dressed like that," I said. "What's that supposed to mean?" Mary's voice had turned cold. "It means," I stepped closer, "I know exactly why you're wearing that dress. You're dressing up for him. And there's only one reason you go to that much effort for another man. That's a rotten thing to say," she snapped, her cheeks flushing. "You're accusing me of something I haven't even done yet." I said the words as sharp as glass. "And you're walking out the door to do it. Don't tell me it's not in your head. I've seen what happens at Linda's parties. I know what she's been trying to talk you into for years. And now you're dressed like you're ready to prove her right. Nothing is going to happen," she shouted, her hands clenched at her sides. "You're being paranoid. I'm just going to a party. Don't wait up." She turned toward the door, but I wasn't finished. "Mary, if you walk out that door, you're kissing this marriage goodbye. I'm not bluffing." She hesitated, just for a moment, then without a word, she walked out. "Goodbye, Mary," I said, as the door clicked shut. The finality in my voice must have reached her, but she didn't look back. I spent the rest of the night pacing the apartment. Each step seemed to add weight to the decision I already knew I'd have to make. Divorce felt inevitable, but a part of me kept holding on to the hope that maybe, just maybe, Mary wouldn't betray me, that she'd come home early, embarrassed for doubting me, ready to apologize. But that shred of hope died when the phone rang at 1. She looked like someone who had just been caught stealing a cookie. I slapped him and went straight to the hospital, reporting what happened to the police. Her tears were falling freely now, and her voice trembled with every word. "They found Rohypnol and ecstasy in my blood," she said, sobbing. Linda admitted to setting me up. She thought that once the drugs wore off, I'd love it and want to join her fun. Mary spat the last word like it was poison. She was wrong. I didn't love it. I hated every second. I folded my arms. "You expect me to believe you just sat around and took it?" "I sued them," she said firmly, her voice gaining some strength. "I sued Linda, Tom, and every man who touched me that night. Linda lost her house. Tom paid me a settlement. That's how I was able to find you. And for what?" I asked, my voice colder than I intended. "What did you think this would accomplish?" "To fix things," she said quietly, her eyes searching mine. "I love you, John. I always have." Her words hung in the air like smoke from a candle just blown out. I shook my head. "You're 2 years too late." Mary sat there, her hands trembling as she clasped them tightly in her lap, waiting for me to respond. But there was nothing to say, nothing that would change what she'd done or what she'd chosen. "You wasted your money, Mary," I said finally, leaning back against the arm of the couch. "And your time. Whatever you thought you were going to find here, it's not waiting for you." Her eyes widened, desperation creeping into her voice. "John, I didn't choose this. I didn't choose what happened to me that night. Linda drugged me, for God's sake. I never wanted to hurt you." "No!" I shot back, my anger rising. "What about before that? What about the